has to be trustworthy. A leader has to be trustworthy. When you look into the eyes of your leader, you must see in that person's eyes that you can trust them with your problems, that you can trust them with your family, that you can trust them with your lands, and I'll get to lands very soon. Oh yeah. You must be able to trust that person. And I ask you, Tarouba, can you trust the leader of this country? No! Can you trust the leader? No! Let me tell you a little about trust, because I know my time is short. Let me tell you about trust, ladies and gentlemen. Can you remember Miss Honeywell? Miss Eleanor Honeywell? Former Solicitor General? She stumbled upon what seemed to be some suspicious ongoings at the office of the Attorney General. Not wanting to make her direct superior aware, who was the former Attorney General, she penned a letter directly to the Prime Minister. Directly to the Prime Minister. Letting the Prime Minister know, Madam Prime Minister, something is wrong. I need your immediate attention. What did our Prime Minister do? Well, let me tell you what the Prime Minister did. She took the letter and sent it to the Attorney General. The very person that Miss Honeywell did not want to know about the matter. When the matter was made public in Trinidad and Tobago and to the international media, the Prime Minister told the former Attorney General, Anand, go investigate yourself. Go investigate yourself, Tarouba. Yeah, Mr. Amlogan investigated himself, came back, and guess what he said? I'm not guilty, I can do no wrong. Oh yeah. Again, when the matter was raised, the Prime Minister again told Mr. Amlogan, Anand, go investigate yourself. Came back, same answer, no wrong. Is this leadership? I ask you again, is this leadership? Can you trust this sort of leader? Neither can I. Okay, do we remember Miss Stacey Roopnaraine? Oh yes, still in government. Stacey Roopnaraine, and I have to go quickly because I see the time is ticking away. Stacey Roopnaraine was informed by the board of NEDCO that they were being pressured by the line minister to give the contract for the QF interchange to a certain contractor, Lakshmi Singh. Lakshmi Singh. And they brought their concerns. They told her that they were uncomfortable. Stacey Roopnaraine, just like Miss Honeywell, penned a letter to the Prime Minister. Madam Prime Minister, she said, I am taking a chance. How is it that you are writing to your Prime Minister, but you are telling her in that letter, I'm taking a chance? Something's seriously wrong. Don't you agree with me? Yes. Something's wrong. Madam Prime Minister, I'm taking a chance to let you know what is going on in the ministry. The Prime Minister, in true People's Partnership style, with Stacey Roopnaraine to Tobago, with the rest of the cabinet. Stacey Roopnaraine came back to Trinidad some days after and said, you know what? I made a mistake. I was wrong. I did not have the facts. Well, Stacey Roopnaraine, I have to say something to you tonight. You graduated from the University of the West Indies as an engineer. An engineer, Stacey Roopnaraine, she can read the blueprint for the whole of San Fernando without anyone's help. How can you, in God's name, not understand the simple tendering process? Are you trying to tell us in Trinidad and Tobago that you got an engineering degree but you cannot understand English? Is that what you're trying to tell us? That's what the Prime Minister forced Ms. Roopnaraine to let us believe, because she came back to Trinidad and said, can you remember? Yes. Tarouba, can you remember? Yes. She came back to Trinidad and she said, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago, People's Partnership supporters, I was wrong. I am sorry. The Prime Minister is a great leader. She wants us to accept that. And in all of this, I ask you, nobody went to the board of NEDCO, the persons who made the complaint. Nobody up till today has gone to them to ask them, what is the problem? Is this leadership? No. Tarouba, I ask you again, is this leadership? No. Okay, let's go to Guav Road. Let's go to Guav Road in Chagaramas. We must go there. We must go to Guave Road. These people have been occupying that land since 1951. 1951, that's 11 years before we became an independent country. They have been occupying that land. Because you want to please some of your contractor friends and family, you force them off that land. You force them off that land. No consultation. None whatsoever. Cut down all their crops. Acres of crops. Cut down. Although we have, Danon, a food import bill of over $4 billion. This Prime Minister cut all the crops. Acres and acres of crops. Cut away. Push the farmers out. I spoke to Mr. Richardson today. I spoke to him. He's one of the farmers down there in Guave Road. He's one of the farmers. Mr. Richardson nearly cried to me today. He nearly cried, and here's why. There's a lady, and I told him I'll mention it because he's listening on 91.9. He's listening. There's a lady by the name of Maria Charles. She lost a leg some years ago. Her daughter, listen to me carefully, her daughter died. Her daughter had children. Tarouba, her daughter had children, just like how you have your son, your daughter. Her daughter had children. Oh yeah, her daughter had children. Her daughter died. And Miss Maria Charles took in her grandchildren. When they took away the land, she only had one leg. She had some people working on the farm. She had some people working for on that farm. She cried to Mr. Richardson. She begged Mr. Richardson. But she called him Joe. She said, Joe, are they really taking the land from us? He said, yes, but don't worry, we are fighting. She said, Joe, I can't take it. She was at home. Joe, I cannot take it. These were the cries of Miss Charles. And I look into your eyes. I look into your eyes right now, Tarouba, and I'm seeing your eyes swelling. Because yes, this story has to bring tears to your eyes, but not our Prime Minister. No tears whatsoever. The land was taken away. Miss Charles died 2 weeks after her land was taken from her. Trinidad and Tobago, I ask you, is this a Prime Minister who cares? No. Is this leadership? No. I know my time is up, so I'll tell you quickly. Yesterday, yes, Madam Chair, yesterday, I was speaking with some friends. I'm cutting my speech short by about 20 minutes. Yesterday, I was speaking with some friends. Oh yeah, I was speaking with some friends, and we were talking sports, and they told me, when it came to basketball, the best player they ever saw was, guess who? Tell me, who was the best player you ever saw? Michael Jordan, that's it. Michael Jordan. Do you know why? Every time the Chicago Bulls was under pressure in a game, you know what they did? They passed the ball to Michael Jordan because he was a leader, and no matter what the situation, he brought them out. Trinidad and Tobago, we have our own Michael Jordan in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm telling you that. Mr. Jack Austin Warner, and I say this without apology, is the Michael Jordan of Trinidad and Tobago politics. And he's waiting on that chance to score a point for you, to score points for all of us, to win the game. Because in this game of life, we must never fail. And all I'm saying before I go, yes, Danon, you can stand. All I'm saying before I go, Mr. Warner is here. The ILP is here. The executive, the ILP family, and they're asking you, pass the ball to the ILP.
That's right.
Pass the ball to the ILP. Tarouba, I thank you.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, Nigel was fiery. As spirited as ever. He raised several issues for Tobago. I guess he's attempting to jog the memory of you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the importance of truthfulness and honesty. Truthfulness and honesty in leadership. And Nigel really spoke on the subject, which is leadership and how this country should be led. Nigel also brought back to attention the type of leader the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago really is. the fact that she manipulated Stacey Rupnarine, a young person of promise politically and otherwise. The Prime Minister manipulated her in Tobago and forced her to change her story. And it was very, very interesting the way Nigel delivered his presentation. And of course, up next is the chairman of the Independent Liberal Party, Mrs. Rekha Ramjit.
Well, after that from Nigel, it's just for you to sit down and let Nigel continue. Fantastic, Nigel. And I'll tell you something else. I'll tell you something else. The two young people before, that is telling you the substance of the ILP. Congratulations to all of you.
It is very, very important that you pay attention to the young people of the ILP, persons who the leadership of the ILP have decided to give a break and give a chance. We've seen what senior citizens or senior politicians can do. We've seen what the recycling politicians can deliver. We've seen it all. Why not Cassia, Keisha Lewis? Why not Nigel Reyes? Why not Janelle Sebastian? Why not?
Our executive members here. Welcome to all of you, and more importantly, welcome to you, the residents of Tarouba and surroundings, and wherever you have come from tonight. A most warm welcome. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you that when election is in the air, as it is now, we must take stock of what is happening around us. A recent survey said that the People's Partnership has 26% support. The PNM has 31% support. And guess what? The undecided has 33% support. What does that tell you? It tells you that the undecided is in the lead. And we are here today to ask those undecided, because those are the thinking people, Those are the people who are considering the issues. Those are the people who are considering leadership. Those are the people who are considering representation. And we are speaking to you, the undecided. Now, more importantly and very instructive in that survey is that even though the People's Partnership, and I will gently remind you, that the People's Partnership includes the UNC, the COP, the something else, and MSJ is another issue that I will deal with just now. But more importantly, and very instructive, is the fact that the leader of the UNC had the most popular vote. And I want to come to that, because you see, Trinidad and Tobago, the leader of the UNC is perpetuating a fraud on us. I'll tell you why. She has realized that her government has failed to perform. She has realized that all her members of parliament, she's had to change about how many? 19 ministers? A sign of failure. She's realized that, and realized the only hope now is what we call cult of personality. So in other words, everybody else take a back seat. Kamala is the only one you're looking at. So she's asking you to ignore representation, ignore your representative, and look only at Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, because she cannot rely on the performance of her representatives. So what does she do? I look at a recent UNC meeting. I'm calling it UNC meeting. I'm done with this partnership thing. It's a UNC meeting in Debe. And on every single banner, the banners representing, let us say, Naprima, had to have Kamala on one side and Nizam on one side. Or Pooch, Stacey on one side, Kamala on the other side. Like if them people, they can't stand up on their own, right? And then, what was the most embarrassing thing, and I'm glad Nigel spoke about Stacy, brilliant, professional young woman. Look at what she has been reduced to. She stood up and she spoke and she said, well, you know, in my constituency, we do this. We pave so many roads, we build so many box drain, we repair so many schools. And you have one woman to thank for that. And I said, well, she's going to talk about herself because she's the member of parliament. She said, you have to thank Kamala. So it would appear to me that nothing can happen in no part of Trinidad and Tobago without thanking Kamala. Not even a Monday night forum. So here you have Kamala insisting that all praise be unto her. When Vanilla had that diarrhea from her mouth the other day in parliament, here's what she says. She says, I give you Christ or I give you Barabbas. They are so, how should I put it, shameless, that she is now equating the Prime Minister and political leader of the UNC to Christ. Are you all going to accept that crap? You cannot accept that crap. That is not representation, but I want to get on to something very serious. The member of parliament for this area is, who it is? Errol McLeod. Oh yes, I almost forget because he never wrong. You understand? Errol McLeod. The other day I had to ask my husband to remind me of his first name. It got that bad. But here is why I say this man is not a leader and he's not a representative. You recall 2010. He represented the MSJ to get into the partnership, not so? Yes. Right. MSJ said we are taking this crap, he pulling out. You know he stayed there? Yes. So who is he representing? Who is he representing? So he's UNC, you know, he's UNC, but he's pretending he's something else. But in any event, I want to deal with Mr. McLeod. Mr. Errol McLeod, eh? All right, the man with the 10 days or the 2 days as the case may be. I want to say this to you in Tarouba and in Trinidad and Tobago. When we talk about representation, we mean that the member of parliament for the area must represent the conscience of the people of that area. Not so? You must represent the views and the conscience of the people of that area. So that when, for example, in the debate on the constitutional amendment bill, the Prime Minister says, we lifting the whip. People could vote according to conscience. What Mr. McLeod and every other member of parliament ought to have done is go back to their constituency and ask them, how do you feel about this? Now let me explain just for a brief moment what the constitutional amendment bill was all about. In 2010, in the manifesto on which this government rode into power, they said we will have a consultation to deal with what are the defects, if so, or inadequacies of the Constitution. We will give you certain things. Included in that, of course, was proportional representation, because you would recall in 2007 the COP got 147 votes, 1,000 votes rather, but no seat in parliament. So we should have proportional representation. And it started with the local government election, and rightly so. So that, but you see, Jack frightened them, eh? It's Jack's fault. He on the way, I hope he listened, and it's his fault. Because I'll tell you what, in the local government election, when the ILP got 103,000 votes, the other day said 102,000, I got real both, it's 103,000 votes. What happened was that they didn't get a lot of councillors, but because they got 103,000 votes, they got quite a few aldermen. Am I not correct, Sunil? They got aldermen, because what it says is, once there are people who support you, you have to have representation in government, and it's based on the number of votes. So that is what, after the consultation on the constitution, that is what was supposed to happen. The report that was put out in December 2013, yes, says that we will go the old way for the member of parliament, but when it comes to senators, we will use the same system. So that if you got 143,000 votes or 102,000 votes and there are 25 senators, you will be entitled to a number of senators even though you don't have a member of parliament. And that will be proper representation. Now, I pause to welcome Mr. Austin Jack Warner, political leader of the Independent Liberal Party.
And of course, Toronto, Jack Warner has arrived. And I tell you something, all the chairs that you put up, have been used up and folks are still pouring in. I'm very surprised that this is a Cottage meeting and this is the attendance. I tell you, I guess Point Up here is in the mood for this election. I'm seeing folks who left this party with Lindira Udit. They are now here, and this is actually very, very fascinating that folks are coming to their senses and returning to the ILP. And we did not send out the chance to come home. I turn you back now to Mrs. Ramjit.
One of the other two parties was able to cut their tail in Shagwada's West. I say only have a few minutes again. But let me deal with the constitutional amendment bill. So what it attempted to do, what they tried to do is say, if you have three parties in a constituency, and one party doesn't get more than 50% of the vote, which is very likely, then they will have a runoff. And the runoff means that the third party will not, their candidate will not be allowed to go for election. So if you support in the, let me say, the ILP. No, let me reverse that. If you support in the PNM and they were the third party, you are now forced to choose between one of the other two parties. And the senator said so, he said you are forced to vote for somebody I tell you to vote. Now that is a breach of our constitutional right, because our constitution says that you can choose a political party of your choosing. You can choose to be affiliated to that party. And therefore the runoff bill was designed to do two things. It was designed to get rid of third parties, and it was designed to force a vote and remove your constitutional right. And that is what the UNC calls leadership. But that is not what the Independent Liberal Party calls leadership, because guess what? It was the Independent Liberal Party who had the strength and the will to say we're not sitting down and taking that. On behalf of all of those citizens who feel that is wrong, we're going to court. We're going to court. David and Goliath. We are going to court. Even though we were ruled against in the High Court and the Court of Appeal, we have the option of going to the Privy Council. But I want to tell you something. From the time we file our action, you know what happened? We hear nothing about the bill again. They're not debating it. But more importantly, even if they were to, it has to still go to the Senate, the lower house, for the amendments suggested by the Senate, and then for assent by the President. Even if that happens, I'm telling you this, the ILP will be back in court. Because the only reason we were not allowed a hearing is because he say we should wait until the bill passed. So I am telling you from the ILP that is no way in Trinidad and Tobago under this Green Party that we will see runoff and you will be denied your constitutional right. Not in this country. We are not going to allow it to happen. And I see the flashcard going up here, but I'll steal 2 more minutes and say something to you about why there's no representation from Mr. MacLeod or any other of the members of parliament in this present government, the PP government. And that is because, as I said, he's supposed to represent your conscience and your views. So when this government decided to pass the bail amendment bill, They were supposed to take your views into consideration, and very briefly I'll tell you what it does. What the bail amendment bill does is say that an innocent man, because if you have one pending matter, one pending matter mean that you have no conviction. One pending matter, and a policeman decide he like the color of Jack's shirt. He go wait for him by the road, charge him for something, and he can't get no bail for 120 days. Now, Jack can go to the police station and get a certificate of good character because he have no convictions. If he goes to court, the court have to give him a direction for good character because he have no conviction. And yet in this country, this government want to tell us they're protecting us by taking a person of good character, putting them in jail for 120 days. And they know very well. They say, well, we putting you there until the trial starts, but they know very, very well because of their own inefficiency, their own ineffectiveness, that could never happen. Because in this country, it takes 18 months to 2 years to get a forensic report for a gun. That means you're in jail for 120 days or 4 months with no hope of any matter starting. They know that. And furthermore, you know what else they know? Because it is in 2013, under this government, that a report was done of the remand center. Daniel Khan, who was then Commissioner of Prisons, wrote, it is inhumane. You have 10, 15 persons to a 10 by 10 cell with one bucket. One bucket to do their numbers 1 and 2 in. That is what you have. And you put in an innocent man in there for 120 days in conditions that this entire world described as inhumane. And that is what this government calling dealing with crime. I tell you that the only reason the government want to pass that bill is because they know they have failed so miserably with dealing with crime. They know the citizens are afraid. So rather than deal with the problem, guess what they want to do? Well, here we want to do something about crime, so we go try and put all them people in jail who we say have a gun. You're not in this country. You have a right under the Constitution to liberty and freedom. Your freedom is not supposed to be taken away on the say-so of a policeman. And if we had a police force beyond question, we didn't have no problem. While you read in the newspaper, 12 people throw a pot of hot water on a young man. You have to use a catheter. You have more policemen in front of the court than ever before. More policemen than ever before. So if we could have trusted the police service, we won't have that. I see the 1 minute timer up 3 times now, But I am saying to you people that this government is slowly chipping away at your constitutional right and freedom. And very, very soon we'll be living in a police state. That is not leadership. That is not representation. We cannot afford to have a government led by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar for another 5 years. We won't survive. We will not survive. So I say to you again, as I recognize my last minute, that in this country, there will be no government formed without the ILP, and we need you to do that.
Because that was the chairman. That was the chairman of the ILP, Mrs. Rika Ramjet. No government is to be formed without the ILP. It is very interesting, very, very interesting that members who would have left with Lindura Udit, they are with us tonight. I find that to be very, very interesting, Trinidad and Tobago. And at the appropriate time, I will tell you who it is or who they are, because it is very, very, very interesting. And here he comes. Here he comes.
The visionary behind Warner TV. Let's put our hands together.
Here he comes. The political leader of the ILP. The political leader, Jack Warner.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard a lot tonight about leadership. But leadership, they say, is like beauty. It is hard to describe it, but when you see it, you will know it. Here is a true leader.
you, Chairman. Thank you very, very much. And I want to begin by saying my apologies for being late. But I got a mark bus for the Sunshine. Next issue, I couldn't leave it. And if you want to know about a mark, that is a mark. Next Sunshine. So I'm a bit late and I promise you I'll make up for it next time. You see, I don't want to come to a meeting where I walk through the crowd midway in a speech like Kamala and it take half an hour to wave to me and to kiss babies and to change diapers and so on. I am not that kind of leader. I am very humble. I have no ego. You don't see my face on cup and teacup and mug and so on. I'm not in that. So I must come when a meeting starts and leave when it ends. I don't want to be like Kamala. Let she come midway. Let she come late. Let her take half an hour to come to the podium, kiss 2,000 babies and so on. That is her style, not mine. So I want to apologize to you. But I want to say to you that on coming here to the meeting, I heard all the speakers. I heard Abu, our UNAM officer. He was brilliant. Abu, thank you very much. I heard Kasia Lewis, who of course went up in Point Forte as a new village candidate. The girl who brought us in Shoguna's West. What was it again? The Hulk. A vex like Hulk. You were still brilliant. And when others may have left Kasia and gone on the other side, you remain fortified and solid. Thank you very much. Because Ms. Lewis knows that in politics, like so many other things, there is no instant success. There are some of those who want to come now and get success and get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. If that is their intention, don't come to the ILP. Wrong party. This party knows about hard work. And as far as we are concerned, there is no substitute for hard work. So Ms. Lewis and others, thank you very much for having kept the faith. In fact, I even saw in this week's Sunshine, young Afifa Mohammed coming back home. I said again, Afifa, thank you very much. There are so many others coming back. Our last come showed last month alone, we had over 250 persons joining the party. That's a good sign. Very, very good sign. And then I heard Nigel Rez. I said to myself, we have to begin this meeting earlier to give Nigel some more time. And when he was speaking about the woman in Shagaramas and the CDA, how she was treated, Ms. Charles, I believe he said, tears really came to my eyes as well. But I'll tell you something, tomorrow the CDA has a meeting at Radisson Hotel. And they didn't invite the ILP, the ILP invited themselves. And we are going there with a delegation in full force. Because we have a stake, an investment in the patrimony of this country. And Chagaramas is one piece of this country in which we are interested. And they can't give their friends and family. But next week, when I bust a mark on Chagaramas, all you here will drop. All you. To tell you what's happening in Chagaramas with the CEO and so on. But again, not tonight. And Reka Ramji, our chairman, she was again, as always, brilliant. What could we do in this party about one like Reka as our chairman? And she talked about the bail bill and the remand yard. And Reka, for over 2 years now, I am saying to open a court in the remand yard. Instead of bringing prisoners to the court, carry the court to the prisoners. But you see, if they do that, Amalgamated wouldn't get any money for transportation. All this siren that pushing off the road and so on every afternoon, every morning, wouldn't take place. But I tell you, if they put the court in the remand yard, you will have more cases finished more quickly than what happens now. I have a friend in the remand yard 7 years now. 7 years now, his case hasn't been called as yet. And that is the reminder that don't put your children and mine under the bail bill. So Rika, you were very good. I'm sorry that you couldn't stay longer, but we have more meetings. And of course, I wish you could have spoken about a man called Aaron MacLeod. But even I will leave him tonight because MacLeod, for the time being, is under cloud. Right? And for me, yes, he's a passing cloud. So let's not worry about him too much. But you know, before I start, I may forget some things. So let me thank first Mrs. Singh for giving us this venue here for this meeting tonight. And let me tell Ms. Singh again that we can't find enough words to say thanks to her and her family for making this venue available. I want to also say as well that when I was coming here tonight, I was the happiest man. For the first time, I had my car radio on, and on my smartphone, I was watching live this meeting on my smartphone. And I tell you, this is because of Warner TV. I was able to log on to www.warnertv.net. I saw everything. I saw all the audio. And believe you me, audio looked nice. So I call my friend Inshan Ishmael, and I asked him if he's seen the Warner TV. He said, Jack Warner, it's clean. He said, nice. He said, this is an innovation that we didn't even think about. He said, Warner, before long, the government will pass a law to prevent things that, like Warner TV, you know. I said, Inshan, let them come. Because next week when you buy our drone, and you put our drone up in the air, right, they have also a reason to balance as well. And if you believe, you have seen us perform miracles or begin initiatives so far. We have more coming. So again, to social media, we are way ahead of the game. Let them have their Monday night forum. Let them have their full page ads on the newspapers. We know that this meeting is going to every home. We know this is going to every young person. Every person who has a hand phone, just a hand phone, can follow a meeting. If that is not technology at its best, tell me what is. And if tomorrow morning, by chance, if you miss this meeting tomorrow morning, we shall replay it again for you, right? As well, on Warner TV. I have just one complaint though. As I was coming here, I also heard one song. Of all the songs you all played, I heard one song. Guys, don't play any UNC song here, please. I hear a UNC song, right? Don't play UNC song. I know they have a little nostalgia and so on, but leave them to themselves. Leave Munilal, right? The bad man of politics. Leave him alone. Leave them. Don't come close, all right? And in case you forget, tomorrow, Thursday, again, for the first time, 12 to 1, talking face to face with Jack Warner on your laptop, on your computer, on your phone. Ask him any question and get an instant reply. Face to face with Jack Warner, that is where we have reached. So lunchtime, after your lunch, before you burp, ask me any question and you get an answer. And as the weeks go by, other persons in the party will be there to do the same thing on an ongoing basis. So begin tomorrow from 12 to 1 and every Tuesday and Thursday 12 to 1. Face to face with Jack Warner. And tomorrow also from 4 to 5 on 91.9 FM you have one-on-one with Jack Warner. 4 to 5 where I come to you and I have with you, the nation, a national consultation. A consultation that was promised to you 2 years now by the Prime Minister. And like so many other things, she has failed to deliver. So where she has failed to deliver, the ILP will deliver by having with you a national consultation every Thursday from 4 to 5. That was, of course, our social media initiatives so far. But I said there are many more to come, and just follow it as it were on Warner TV, Sunshine Hour, the Hour of Truth, or the Sunshine newspaper. Tonight, however, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Kamala's leadership. And I'm not going to attack Kamala, you know. Or Munilal, I would love to attack Munilal, but I ain't going down there. Let Munilal tell Rory mouth stink. I ain't telling Munilal nothing about his mouth. Nothing. Right? I ain't going down that level. And we in this party said that we are not going down to that level. We here are talking about issues. Issues which both parties so far have failed to address. And we are doing that. And we are doing that through our cottage meetings. This is our 15th cottage meeting. And we have, of course, about 100 more to hold before we start our campaign. But in doing so, we shall sensitize the public on what's happening. And we shall blossom at the appropriate time. Nobody, no political party, no prime minister will tell the ILP how to set our agenda. Our agenda is set by us. So therefore when they ask you, when the UNC will start campaigning, we have never stopped. We have never, the ILP, you see again? When the ILP is starting campaigning, we have never stopped. If the UNC want to have their Monday night forum, that's their business. But we have never stopped. And because the prime minister couldn't talk Monday night, they had no forum. So they have a party of one. Take her out. They have nobody, nothing. Nothing. We won't be like that. So I'm going to talk here briefly about Kamala's leadership. Because I believe that a leader must be secure in himself or herself. They must know who they are, and in fact, they must always be comfortable with themselves. What worries me is the fact that our Prime Minister requires every office holder to talk about how great she is, how great is her leadership. I heard Nigel talking about Stacey. I heard the chairman talking about Stacey. Stacey goes to Debe Junction, the junctions in Debe, and talk about all the roads and bridges and walkways and so on. As of course the chairman said, who did she thank? The Prime Minister. In Parliament, they can't make a single speech without saying how great the Prime Minister is, thanks to our enlightened Prime Minister and so on. As if they, of course, are useless. I, of course, saw or read 25 foolish points given by the most despicable MP in this country, Suraj Rambichan, of how great the Prime Minister is. I was about to answer him, and just I said, look, let me not dignify that foolishness. But I'll tell you what I did in a few minutes. But you see, the Prime Minister wants everyone to mention her by name. Every souvenir that is printed must have her face or a picture. Every action that is done in the country must be because of her doing. But when the action is bad, I'm advised. I don't know. I wasn't there. I was not aware. Once the action is bad, I was not aware. I have not been told. I'm advised. But once it's good, or seems to be good, give it to the Prime Minister. I'm asking you here, what about the rest of us? What about the rest of our MPs? Doesn't she recognize their work? Doesn't their work have some value, some worth? Don't they look after our needs? If it's only the Prime Minister doing everything therefore, who will look after our needs? I ask you tonight, how long must this continue? And if you all know the pain I go through when I watch a man like Gypsy, who worked with me for 14 months in a movement for change. Gypsy, when I watch the wimp he has become in Parliament, I say, Father, oh God, forgive him. I can't understand that. And a man who is virtually independent, he too like me, can work for $1 a month if he wanted to. He has no reason to grovel. But all of them do that. And I'm saying, therefore, who will look after us? And how long must this continue? I'm saying also, a leader must have a clear vision of where he or she is going and what he or she wants. But our Prime Minister has a clear vision of only ensuring that her friends, her family, and her favored sons, contractors, get everything. How else can you explain her selection of contractors? How else can you explain her friends who hold critical positions in the country? Are you saying that the only talent in the country is the talent that you can find in the UNC? I won't say PP, because there's no PP. There's no PP. Ask yourself, Chairman, when you're talking, which party is MacLeod representing the PP? Which party? The party left MacLeod a long time ago. Which party? Where's the TOP? Is there a party? The COP lost its way a long time ago. And Prakash Ramadab has buried it. So therefore I won't say anything about PP until I come a little lower down. I'll say UNC for the time being. Are you telling me that the best talent in this country can only be found in the UNC? And then, having found them, do they reflect talent and loyalty? I am saying, if that's the case, is that the best thing for your children and children's children? What about the rest of us, my friends? How is it you can have in this country 2% of the population ultra rich, very rich, and 90% very poor? This country has become poorer over the last 5 years. We are poorer today as a country. In every sense of the word, we are poorer today than we were 5 years ago. This country has become more racially polarized under this government than we were 4 years ago or 5 years ago. In fact, those of you who were born in 1961 would recall the last time we were like this was in 61 with Capedale and Williams. We have never been like this. This is a country of one love. And today, we have reached a stage where you can't even make out this country anymore. And that is what Kamala and her cabal have brought this country to. So I'm going to ask you again, must this continue? And the answer must be no. A leader, my friends, must be able to interpret the needs, concerns, and aspirations of her followers and her potential followers. Everybody in this country, from the smallest child, is concerned about the drop in energy prices. All over the world, we see stories and reports of suffering by people because of a drop in oil prices. Today, I was on my desk where I got something from Bloomberg that tells me in Canada, they have lost $40 billion. In Russia and Central Asia, they have lost $218 billion. In the Middle East, they have lost $357 billion. In Sub-Saharan Africa, they have lost $89 billion. In North Africa, they have lost $62 billion. All this is US, you know. US. In Latin America, they have lost $60 billion. But in Trinidad and Tobago, they lose a cent. They lose a cent. And we spend money here like it's chili bibi. Chili bibi. Somebody will pay. And I tell you tonight, somebody will pay. And all of those who have money hidden in banks in India and wherever, I tell you tonight, we shall find the money. All of us, Holland, India, Australia, Panama, wherever, we go find the money. Even the vaults in their homes, we go find the money. That's all. Don't worry yourself. Because you know why? Every other voice in this country is saying, that we have to be more responsible. But our government is saying we must continue as normal. And what they are doing also is selling out our golden assets. Yes. So tonight on TV, they are going to sell out Phoenix Park Gas Company. They just finished sell half of Clico, and all to their friends and family. And when I bust the mark in the next issue of Sunshine, I'll tell you who buy them. Issue 102, I have 101 mark already. I'll tell you who buy them, who got them, and which contractors here had a part to play in them. But you see, I ain't come here to move along nobody. Right? I come to talk facts. Right? I ask you, under this government, what are the hopes you have for the future? What are the hopes you have for your children? Let us assume that some of us are halfway there on the other side, like me. But your children, what have they done to deserve this? What have they done to inherit a country like the one they shall inherit unless this government is stopped? My dear friends, a leader must be able to communicate clearly, simply, and with persuasion. Of course, on this issue, the Prime Minister came first, because she said, we will rise. But we did not know that she was talking about her few friends and finances. She wasn't talking about the rest of us. Which one of you here has risen? Who here has risen? Aren't you people too? You get what? East. 11? Yeah, East. Yes, that's all you can get. Because I tell you something, unless you're in the inner circle, unless you're the friends and family, unless you are the Kaaba chosen one, can't eat your supper. Oh God, sorry, not cat. Not cat. So therefore I'm saying, yes, Capo, smoke your pipe. Capo, smoke your pipe. Not me this cat thing at all. A leader must also be able to lead her followers and not leave them so far behind that their followers are lost. My dear friends, the Prime Minister, by her action, has lost the MSJ. The MSJ that represented the voice of the ordinary workers. She has lost the TOP, the voice of our people in Tobago, our brothers and sisters over there. She has lost the UNC, because the UNC which she lost is Pande UNC. The UNC which she has is not the UNC that you all know. It's not the UNC that I was chairman of either. The UNC she has today is a pickup side. Right? Well, it's an NR party. In any case, she's an old NR. Right? And therefore I'm saying to you, if you want to understand how we are lost, if by chance you want to see much more evidence of how we are lost, all I ask you to recall Vanilla Allen Toppin's attack on Keith Rowley in the parliament. And let me tell you something. She could jump high, she could jump low. That sound familiar? That speech by Toppin had the support fully of the Prime Minister. Fully. And Munilal wishes to say that he, of course, gave permission and supported and so on. Who cares about Munilal? Who cares about Munilal? At the end of the day, I have never seen a man who has assumed so much self-importance. This is the same man who called his Prime Minister a drunkard. 4 years after, he's the loved one. But I tell you something, if by chance, not if by chance, when the Prime Minister loses this election, let us see who will assume the leadership of the party. Let us see. If anybody is praying for the PP to lose the election, Munilal is. He can't wait to become leader. But again, more about him another time. So a leader also, I'm saying to you, must be decisive. To choose competent and independent thinking persons to carry out your vision. And I'm saying, it is here we have the biggest failure. Because the fact is, over the past 4 years, Over the past 4 years, you have never seen so many failures as you have seen today. In fact, 25 ministers have been dismissed or fired. I resigned, and I went back to the polls. I'm the only one. But every other one she fired, and she hired them, she fired them. In nowhere in the world have you seen this. And in fact, in the most critical ministry of all, national security, in 4.5 years, we had 5 ministers. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ik do 10. I can't pass that. 5. And this is of course the Prime Minister had said that in the first 120 days we shall solve crime. The way they're going, it would take them 120 years. Look at the moderate. Look where we are today. Look how, of course, wicked and heinous and barbaric our mothers today. And you're telling me that we have reason to be proud of our choices? I am asking you, did the Prime Minister know that these were bad choices? Didn't she know long before that the AG was a bad choice? Everybody knew that. Even Basde Pandey would tell you when he was on the Tesoro or Twin Talk board, he wasn't so good. Petro Twin board, he wasn't so good. But she didn't know that. She didn't know that. Look around and tell you want somebody to tell her that Devant Maraj is the world's #1 racist? He's the man who said to kill every Muslim alive. He said so. And what did she do? Make him a minister the following year. You want to tell me she did not know? She did not know about Sharma and Madar Singh? She didn't know about them? We knew. And at the appropriate time, at the appropriate time, all I'm saying, the public will know. The public will know, but she did not know. So I'm saying, therefore, as far as I'm concerned, if ever you have a reason to be critical of poor leadership, is the quality of persons who were chosen. Look at how many persons today with false certificates, giving young people the impression that you don't have to study anymore, you have to be a trickster. False certificate, you get a high-paying job. And when they found out, nothing happened to them. Unless they die. Nothing happened to them. Look how many persons today on boards, and they of course have a kind of network. So for example, the chairman of NGC was the chairman of SIS. He is now of course in NGC. The deputy chairman of NGC, Gordon Ramjatan, was of course chairman of an SIS company, Phoenix Park. And he's our deputy chairman of NGC. NGC is giving away our money, lock, stock and barrel. NGC, which they inherited with $15 billion, they're behaving as if they want to spend all before they leave. But they could run, but they can't hide. Right. And time will tell. Time will tell. You see, the point is, I'm saying to you, that this insanity that's taking place here now must stop. And that is why the IP was formed. The IB was formed to help you to understand and to make a change in what is taking place in this country today. My dear friends, we have in the next few weeks opportunity to change our future. I ask you to support us because we know about performance, representation, and action. In fact, I asked a friend yesterday to tell me some of the failures of the Prime Minister. He alone gave me 10 in 4 seconds. I'll tell you about 4 tonight and tell you what he said. He said she's the first Prime Minister who allows a cabal to take over operations of our country, which she was elected to lead. He says nobody voted for cabal. Nobody did. And he was critical of her for that. He says she's the first Prime Minister to allow very important decisions concerning our country to be made from a private home in Philippines instead of her office as is known by other sitting Prime Ministers. This country is run from Philippines. From Philippines. From Friday to Wednesday, this country is run from Philippines. This never happened before. And this man here is critical of that. And he's right. He says here, this is the first Prime Minister to use loopholes in our country's constitution to oppress the people of the country. A country she was elected to lead. Correct. Last one, I'll take what he said. The first Prime Minister to get snubbed by a USA Vice President for the level of corruption in the government. Talking about Joe Biden. And I'm talking about Joe Biden. Let me ask the Prime Minister something. What has happened to the US ambassador that was appointed here on July 30th, 2013? A fellow called Estrada, a sergeant major in the Marine. To this day, he hasn't come here. Why? How come? Obama said he appointed. He left here when he was 14 years old. You know where he left from? Laventil. Tell us the reason why up to this day we don't have a US ambassador. But I'll tell you why in the sunshine. Because some must sell sometime. And again, also I tell you tonight, I'm aware that the Prime Minister is jostling to get Obama to come here to hold some commission on crime with the Caribbean delegates. She jostling and Portia too. Well, tomorrow morning, this party would write President Obama via the U.S. Embassy and tell him not to come here because we are in the throes of an election, and to come here will be taking part in our domestic affairs. No way. And tomorrow, no, I have Obama private address. You know, I was there long before Kamala. Right? I was there in his office, in his home and all. But for protocol purposes, I read the embassy, and I have already gotten the permission of the executive to do that. He must not come here for the world's greatest poser to pose and so on, to live for image and to help her during the election. No way at all, Obama. You stay out. Go Jamaica. Don't come here. Other issues were raised last night in a radio program when a guy asked to give 5 reasons why he shouldn't vote for this government. In 5 seconds, they give 50. I won't give you all tonight. I'll give you a few. But listen to what they said on the radio last night. They asked them, give me 5 reasons why this government should be in power. One said, wish me. Another one said, corruption. One said, racial divide widening. Another one said, crime not solved in 120 days. Next one said, topping in parliament. And topping supporters out of parliament. We asked them, where you come here for? I love Kamala. Where you come here for? I like Kamala. Right? They said another reason was the PM herself. Another reason they gave him was Section 34. Another one was prison gate, email gate, Sat Maraj, and so on. 2-term. Where's the 2-term? We all, of course, voted for. Where's the 2-term? Where's the, of course, where we have given a promise of fixed dates for election? We were critical of Manning for keeping his back pocket. Today, Kamala keep it in her skirt. Michael Kors post, that's correct. That's correct. What about fixed dates? We in this government, in this country, never voted for a one-off bill, but they tried to push it down our throat. And thanks to the ILP, they haven't succeeded as yet. But as Reka has said, the day they pass the bill, if by chance they take God out of their thoughts and pass the bill, court. Whoever want to go there as a business, but the ILP going to court. The fact is, we have to be concerned about you. If nobody else wants to be, that is their business. And as such, therefore, I say to you tonight that at the end of the day, you have to make sure that what we say and what we do is to your best interest. My friends, time and chance come together for each of us. For each of us, time and chance come together. You have tried the PNM, and you were left wanting. You had a dream with Pandey's UNC, which dream was short-lived. Now you're having a nightmare of your lives with Kamala's PP. Because this country is now in the gutter as never before. So I'm saying to you, therefore, now is the time to make a decisive political decision. Now is the time for political change, my friend. Now is the ILP time. Give us that chance. Let us come together and save our blessed country. I thank you.
Trinidad and Tobago, that was the political leader of the Independent Liberal Party, Jack Austin Warner, with a stunning delivery. Yeah, it was a stunning delivery. And of course, he spoke on several issues, one of which had to do with the failings of the government, the failings of the Prime Minister. It is really unbelievable to learn Trinidad and Tobago of the excesses of this Prime Minister, the fact that she won't act unless caught. And so this has brought us to the end of a fascinating and fantastic Cottage meeting. Several persons here. All the chairs are occupied. Folks are standing. Kunji is here. Kingsley is here. And of course, persons who left with Lindira Udit. They're also here, and I find that to be very, very, very interesting. Interesting times in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. We thank you so much, Trinidad and Tobago, for being part of our Cottage meeting here in Marabella. And of course, we'll be heading back.
Alright, thank you so much.
Yeah. And of course, we'll now send it back to the studio. Transvago will be in touch to keep it locked on www.warnertv.net. That's www.warnertv.net for all of the coverage of the Independent Liberal Party's Cottage meetings, spot meetings, and of course public meetings. We now take you back in studio.
The Black Agenda on the street. 919fm.com. The Black Agenda. Mondays to Thursdays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the street. 919 FM. Undisputed king of nighttime talk radio, The Black Agenda.
The Black Agenda is now at a new time, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The man who has lectured to and inspired the young and not so young is now sharing mind power. Mind power.
Join Brother David Muhammad from Monday to 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 Muhammad from Monday to